Hey Maria, back with another video. I made a video yesterday and unfortunately it didn't seem to work out. I made the video on my phone and I think my phone is, I guess it's causing me problems again. So it's not even uploading the video that I made yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and try out my new computer, make a video on my new computer. And so I just wanted to show you my pillow cover that I made. Apparently Walmart had a sale for fabric for $1 a yard, and it was such a great deal that I bought a bunch of their fabric. I bought 2 yards each of this particular fabric I made. This is my pillow I made. It's just kind of sitting here on my bed. But I bought this particular fabric, and then I bought this one. You'll notice that they're very similar. The only difference is the background. Very bright, very colorful, and only $1. So if you're into sewing, you might want to head over to Walmart. I'm not sure if they still have that sale on or not, but it's definitely worth looking at if you are there. Okay. So anyways, I wanted to make this video. It's called Misconceptions About Me. And like I said, I did make this video yesterday, but unfortunately, my poor camera, my poor phone isn't quite working up to speed. So first of all, I wanted to say that I'm not artistic. I think that, my family may have heard or seen some of my things like on Facebook, or or some people I worked with may have noticed some of the homemade things that I had made on Facebook, or sometimes there are times where I wore like handbags or whatever that I made myself. So people start thinking, well, she's artistic, she should be doing things that are art related. Now when I think of people who are artists, obviously they have the ability to create things that are directly from their head. Okay, my art that I make are mostly, I would consider them crafts. Okay, some of the things that I make are actually designs that I got from somebody else. Okay, I may have put a different spin on it, but it's pretty much not mine. Like for example, certain patterns, like I can make some patterns, like basic patterns, like pillow patterns, handbag patterns, just basic patterns, even some shirt patterns. But artistic people who have a very good skill, or they're good at their particular craft, they have the ability to do these things. I don't have these abilities to do those things. So I think there's many people who have skills in one thing, but spend their free time engaging in other pleasant hobbies. Like for example, a lawyer may throughout the entire week or whatever, he might be busy going through different cases, using his analytical abilities to figure out cases if he's a good lawyer. Okay. But, on the weekends or his free time, he spends his time, making dog houses or engaging in other forms of carpentry work because it's relaxing to him and he feels as though that hobby is rewarding. So, no, I'm not artistic, okay? I have an artistic flair. I do like bright colors. A lot of those things, the bright colored objects that I have kind of help me in my mood. I think there's a lot to be said for color therapy because especially now, when I'm going through a very dull period in my life, and it's been that way for quite a little while. And, having brighter colors around actually do enhance your mood. And of course, this has been done, there's been some scientific research done on this issue. I enjoy those things, and they do help ease the depression, okay? If a person is severely depressed, you want to avoid certain colors, like for example, dark blues. You want to sit there and surround yourself with more bright colors, like yellow, hot pinks, some blues, like bright colored blues, but certain colors can actually add to your depression. And for information on color therapy or information on how color can enhance or change or affect your life, you might want to go ahead and Google color therapy and get some information on that. I do have a great appreciation for art. I know I like to sew. I enjoy sewing. I'm not an expert sewer. There's a lot of things I have never made a wedding dress, a formal gown, or anything like that. Okay, not even for a doll. Okay, I've never done anything like that. But I have made basic dresses. Like regular dresses that I could wear around town, or dresses that I've worn to work or whatever. Nice dresses, but not anything like formal, where I'm working with like lace or crinoline or some of the satin type materials. I've never worked with those. I have tried working with like some of those like imitation type sateen or whatever they call it, and I find it very tricky and very hard and very uncomfortable to work with. But there are some people who, like seamstress, who are able to work with any sort of material. They can whip out designs in their head. They can, they don't need a pattern. They can make their own patterns from scratch, no matter how complex it is. this is what they do. These are hobbies for me, okay? And I like to use my time engaging in these particular hobbies, okay? Now, lately, I've been very kind of depressed, unmotivated, because, you know, I'm constantly thinking about all this bullshit, which really, I try to separate my mind from it. But when, you know, it's gone on for such a long period of time that, you know, it starts to really wear you down. It really does, okay? And when I think about the issues that these people use to try to divert me from my goals in my life and the things that I needed to survive, and the I call it petty or the stupid reasons why, you know, it can't help but shake you, because, you know, none of these are valid reasons, and the accusations, from what I'm understanding, are completely unfounded, okay? Yeah, okay, so I like sewing, I like music, I like clothes. As far as having the ability to create clothes on my own, like I said, I can make basic shirts. Like, for example, using stretch material is very easy. You know, for example, you can make shirts, even like, I made a few shirts using like the kind of polyester type stretch material. I find that that's so easy that you really can't go wrong with it. Basic shirts, okay? Now, there's certain kind of shirts that I like, you know, that I would have to buy, which I don't have any money to do that right now. But, you know, I'm not really that skilled at sewing. It's just a hobby. I feel like, you know, that the overfocus on my artistic side is a way for people to not acknowledge my true and obvious intellectual abilities. I have always had an interest in history and religion, and as I grew older, I became more firm in my decisions based on reasons and facts, okay? When I was younger, I didn't have any experience or anything to fall back on, okay? Oftentimes, you know, if somebody suggested something, I didn't know the facts, the pros, the cons, you know, the outcome of certain things, or the likely outcome of certain things, so that I would make decisions. Now, when I say I'm going to do something, or think I'm going to stand firm on something, or I do it because I know it's right. You know, I do things that are based on reason, okay? And I'm very firm on that. And the reason why is because I'm continuously using my intellectual abilities. So no, I'm not artistic, but I'm more, I hate the word analytical because it reminds me of Steve Murray and his stupid personality, put people in boxes type thing. But really, a person who is well-rounded, they're going to be a little bit of analytical, they're going to be a little bit, analytical, they're going to be a little bit artistic. They're going to have all of these things. That's what's the purpose of, like, you know, the school curriculum, supposedly, okay? Like, you're supposed to, you know, be able to take all these particular studies, and you're also supposed to engage in, what do you call those things? Foreign language, fine arts. The reason why is because the idea behind it, the original idea behind it, okay? There's a lot of people bitching about the school system now, okay? But the original idea behind that is to make a well-rounded person, okay? And that's what I've tried to do. You know, I didn't really try to do it. I think personally, me being independent in my way of living throughout my life, I have become this person. I think I'm quite fortunate to be able to be well-rounded, okay? Whereas there's a lot of people who aren't, you know? And I'm very grateful for that. I think some people, these personality tests, or these sort of categories that people put other people in, it kind of limits people. And when you start judging people, then you start ignoring, you know, what these people, their full potential really is, and it doesn't give them the proper credit and acknowledgement, and it just kind of only satisfies egotistical people that have an agenda, you know. Yes, my name is Maria. You know, I was in a conversation with a guy yesterday at work, and, you know, he was a very nice guy. We were talking, and he was like, well, are you like Hispanic or something? I said, no, I'm not Hispanic, you know. I think there's a lot of people who think that the name Maria is a Hispanic name. The name Maria is actually a European name, okay? And, you know, black people, when they came to this country, were given European names, okay? Our last names are from Europe, the slave owners that owned the black people who came here. And so I know in the 1960s, the new African American names, like, for example, Shaniqua, all these other names that you might hear that belong to other people, and there's nothing wrong with those names, but it is a fairly recent phenomenon, okay? Those names originated with the Black Pride movement during the Civil Rights era. So it's kind of like some people wanted to, you know, distance themselves from the European origins, or the European names that were given to them, because they wanted to have a very distinct identity. So they decided to change their names to these names. And so but not everybody did that. Like my parents were born in the 1930s, okay? And my mother, same as Mary, my father's name was James. Their brothers and sisters had, you know, European names like Betsy, Joanne, those kind of names. Those are the names are European. Now, if my parents were born in the 1940s and they lived in an area where they were heavily influenced, like maybe if they were living in, I don't know, like Harlem or something, and they might have been influenced if they were like in the 20s, okay, in the 1960s, and they might have been influenced to be a part of these movements, and then perhaps maybe I would have been given those names. Okay, like my family would have been given my brothers and sisters these particular names, but that wasn't the case, okay? I have very old school parents, okay? So that's one of the reasons why I have the name that I have. And there's, going throughout history, there's a few black notable women with the name Maria. One was a poet. I can't remember her last name, but she was a poet. I'm also thinking, for whatever reason, Nat King Cole's wife, his wife's name was Maria. So it's just, you know, sometimes you deal with a lot of ignorance, okay? You know, and some people think that, you know, the African American names that were created in the during the Civil Rights Movement and afterwards are the standard of African American names. That's not the truth, okay? Because people are only limited. They only see things that they see on TV, or they might have, you know, been introduced to one particular African American person. So they think that this is just everything, that's it, that's all we've ever had, but that's not true. Our origins here in the United States, okay, as far as Africa is different, but I focus here on my existence here as an American citizen, my life here in the United States, okay. Yes, I have African ancestry, and you know, it's interesting, you know, because I must wonder, what part of Africa am I from, you know? I believe my origins are from West Africa. But Africa, to me, my family has been separated from Africa centuries ago. So I mostly focus on what the African Americans in this country have done. I don't really think about Africa. Now, I know I do like African masks. I think those are very cool. I was hoping I could get some myself, but they're extremely expensive. You know, they're beautifully made, and they have a very, I don't know, strange vibration to them. I think they're those African ceremonial masks or whatever. Those are amazing, okay? But I don't really, you know, identify with like the whole African movement. I don't do that. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, okay? Not at all, not by any means. So yeah, so that's why. And so the way that I talk, I speak proper English, and this is how you're supposed to speak, okay? No matter what background you come from, you're supposed to speak proper English. And so I notice, like, you know, as a person of color, you know, no matter what dialect a person of color speaks, there's going to be some sort of backlash from ignorant people who don't know any better. You know, my brothers, my horrible brothers and sisters, my siblings, if anyone's here in town had the opportunity to speak with them, you'll notice that they speak in the same dialect, the same way that I speak too. They all speak proper English, okay? If you were to speak to my shitty brother over the phone, you would think that he sounded like a white guy. You wouldn't know that he was a black man until you actually met him, okay? So it's just the way that, you know, how a person's raised, the environment that they're raised in, and these sort of factors that come into play on how people speak. And yes, I speak proper English. No, I'm not making I'm not faking the way that I talk. This is how I talk, and I've always spoke this way, you know? So hopefully that clears that one up. You can never make me ashamed of who I am. I knew from the very beginning that I was right in all of this. That's why, you know, I've made, I think I've up close to 1,000 videos. I might have made 1,000 videos. I'm not sure. Okay, like the last time I actually counted, I was like 800, somewhere in that number. I could have actually hit the 1,000 mark. But, I'm not sure. I'd have to check. But I knew that I was right about this issue. I knew that what was going on in the workplace was wrong. I didn't know exactly who was behind it, but I knew that it was wrong. I felt as though it was racist. I mean, you know, people were trying to force me into some sort of stereotypical image that they wanted me or thought that I was supposed to be in. First of all, you know, you can't tell people how to live their life, how to act, how to speak, what kind of music you're supposed to listen to, what kind of things you're supposed to identify with. You know, there are several black people in this world that just have eclectic tastes, just like white people do. You know, I know white people who enjoy all kinds of different hobbies. They like all kinds of different movies. They like all kinds of different styles. They like all kinds of different kinds of music. But if a black person exists, they're supposed to only like one sort of thing. That's bullshit, okay? That right there is racism, okay? And often people, they don't realize that they're racist. They don't, you know, because they think in their mind, well, I'm not a Ku Klux Klan member. I'm not burning a cross on somebody's yard. Therefore, I'm not racist. But when you start really looking down and looking into certain things, it starts to reveal to them, and they start opening their eyes. They're like, wait, I do have these racist tendencies. There are some people who try to work on their racist tendencies because they didn't realize it existed until they were confronted with issues such as this one. You know, I remember there was a girl, she swore up and down she was my friend. She really, really thought she was my friend. And she would just do things and say things all the time that were just absolutely thoughtless. And then she realized one day that she was fucked up. And I could tell she started crying, and she was kind of ashamed of herself at the same time, but she really couldn't help it because she was so indoctrinated for such a long period of time, you know? So anyway, yeah, that's completely racist. Okay, so I also want to talk about my hair. Yeah, many black women, we wear wigs, weaves, hair extensions. And I would like to say that I was always raised to believe that women who stuffed their bras, padded their panties, and sometimes even wore wigs were not a good thing. My father used to refer to this as false advertisement, like, you know, presenting yourself to be something that you're not. Like, you know, if a man sees this woman with these huge boobs, right, and he's like, you know, his mouth is watering and he thinks that he's going to like score on this woman, right? I'm giving you a scenario here. But the woman really is flat-chested, okay? I felt the same way about wigs, okay? So growing up, I remember me and my sister and this guy were walking home from school one day, and he was talking about the Eurythmics video, Annie Lennox, and how she looked so, like, quote-unquote hot in this particular wig. And I remember I was shocked because I kept thinking, you would like a woman who wore a wig? Really? Ew, that's weird. You know, and I still kind of feel that way today. My reason for wearing my wigs was not because I was trying to get male attention. And for that very reason, based on the way I was raised and how I view that, just like the stuffing the bra, the padded panties, I would never do something like that to get male attention. Okay, I wouldn't, because at the end of the day, you know, when you take your hair out, you're going to have the little choppy hair that you have, and I would think that that would fall into that category of false advertisement. I would not do that, okay? So my reasons were because, you know, as an African American, our hair is completely different than white people's hair, completely different, okay? And there are some white people who have very kinky hair, much like black people. I've actually known a white woman who used to have to get her hair relaxed because her hair was so bushy. But let's just talk about like the common white person, okay? Most white people, they can get in the shower, they can wash their hair, condition it, blow dry their hair, or they can just let it go wet and they can walk out the door and hey, you're all set to go, right? It's not like that with black people, okay? If you don't have a relaxer, okay, like when I was younger, growing up, I didn't have a relaxer. Washing my hair was an all-day event when I was a kid. Okay, seriously. I had to wash it, then I'd have to let it air dry, then I'd have to blow dry it, then I'd have to sit for hours, okay, to get my hair straightened. It was a nightmare, okay? And then as I got older, you know, relaxers, yes, they are very damaging to your hair, but I will say that it does cut down the time of taking care of your hair, okay? And, you know, I've lost a lot of hair throughout the years, and that's one of the reasons why I wore the wigs. But, you know, and even, you know, with the relaxer, it's still not a wash and go thing because I still get tangles in my hair, you know, so it helps a little bit. I mean, it really does it takes away a lot of the time preparation on my hair, but it doesn't completely resolve all the issues, okay? And really, I don't think that there really are any issues. There's nothing wrong with African American hair, but we all know that Afros are not acceptable in the workplace, okay? And I personally don't like the way Afros look on me. I've seen a few girls in magazines and Pinterest. I've actually pinned a couple of the girls with these huge Afros who are very thin, and they look beautiful in their Afros. I think they look amazing, okay? I think a lot of Afrocentric hairstyles look great. Like when I wore the braids to work, I didn't expect to get the backlash that I got. You know, I didn't expect it. I figured people, I've always assumed that people understood that black people had different hair. So I never thought for 1 minute that I would have to explain that. You know, one of the big distinctions between what makes a white woman different than a black woman is our hair. You know what I mean? Our hair is a big difference, okay? So that's, I figured people would just understand that I'm a black woman, no duh, like no shit, right? But no, I think that people thought that I was wearing wigs because I was trying to get male attention. Specifically, because I had no idea that the Lyles family were involved in this, or Stephen Lyles was involved in this. So he might have been in the background and I had no idea. And they thought, well, she's doing this because she's seeing Stephen Lyles, maybe, or for whatever reason. I can assure you that was not the case, okay? It has nothing to do with anything other than to groom my hair to look presentable for the workplace, okay? When I'm at home, I don't have any hair, fake hair in my hair at all. I usually wear a hat. My hair doesn't really stay down very well. It doesn't. It's all over the place. So I just kind of wear hats. Like around town, you'll see me wearing hats or whatever. And that's it. You know, I don't. You know, that was for that reason. And I feel like, you know, I feel kind of offended that somebody would assume that I would do that for male attention. I really do. I feel offended by that, especially if any other black person joined in and thought that. Like, I know my family, they were probably raised with the same view about the wig issue as I was, okay? So, but they may have thought that maybe I was thinking I was doing that for Stephen or whatever, but that wasn't the case, okay? No, not at all. And yeah, I do resent that, totally. Let's see here. Oh yeah, you know, I would like to say that white women also wear wigs, for several reasons. Some white women wear wigs because they have hair loss, like I am. They lose hair too. Maybe it was fuller when they were younger. I had mentioned one time before, there was a white woman who had very long blonde hair, and her husband loved it, and she was kind of tired of it, and she wanted to try something. She wanted to have a short, tight bob look, darker hair color, but her husband really wasn't wanting it. So in order for her to make him happy, and of course her happy, she went out and got her cute little blonde wig, brunette wig, a bob type wig, and so her husband could be happy, and then she could be happy in the same way. There's several reasons why they don't do it, but whatever the issue is, it's a very personal issue, and it's not something that needs to be blared out all over the goddamn place. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, I do remember talking to coworkers about it because, oh, hang on a second. Let me grab something really quick. I will be right back. Okay, so anyway, I do remember talking to coworkers about my hair issue, but you know, and I thought, okay, they're white, they would probably understand that black people's hair isn't the same, so they would understand it. But like I said, now they thought that, you know, maybe they heard about this Stephen Lyles thing and thought that I was doing that for that reason, and would insist upon that. No, I can assure you, no. If you look around your town or anywhere, you'll notice that a lot of black women do wear wigs. They do, okay? Don't ever ask them about it. Don't ever get into a conversation about it. It's a personal issue, you know? And it should be respected as so. What else do I want to cover? I think that's pretty much it. I'm glad that I got a chance to... Oh yeah. I don't dress for anyone other than myself. Like when I go out shopping for clothes or I make an outfit or something, I buy and make what I like. I never thought for 1 minute that, oh, so-and-so is going to like this, or I'm doing this for this particular reason. I grew up with a love of clothes. So much so that, you know, in 2014, 2015, while I was living in the Atlanta Valley area, I was trying to look for work. You know, I was starting, my gang stalking was starting to get pretty heavy then. I was trying to get a job in the Los Angeles area. So I thought, okay, I personally think if you're trying to aim for dream type jobs, like jobs where you can, like, you're trying to get, your goal in life is to try to get fulfillment in certain things, right? Okay, and I liked accounting. So I kept thinking, okay, well, and then based off the industry that you try to work for could possibly be, you know, doesn't always end up this way, but you could try to find things that you like for your side interest. Like, for example, I have respect for architectural design, you know, so I kept thinking, okay, maybe I can work for architecture company, or I could work in the fashion industry. So the fashion industry idea would have been cool because, you know, I like looking at clothes. I like looking at clothes. Now, I don't necessarily think that people should follow fashion for the simple fact that it can get expensive to do that. You know what I mean? And also, fashion is based on trends and things that constantly change. And you can buy an outfit one year, and the next year, you know, it's people are like, oh, you're still wearing those jeans, or you're still wearing. And to me, that's ridiculous. And you should buy what you like. You know, clothes, fashion gets put out, and I think it should be certain things that you could add to your wardrobe, okay? But I hate that attitude of where, you know, these are in, these trends are in, and these trends are out. I can't stand that. Unless, of course, you're wearing something that is so dated that, you know, but I still think it looks good, though. Like some of those 1950s outfits are very cute, I think they're very cute, very classy looking, as a matter of fact. But some things might, for example, some big, funky type 1970s clothes might be too loud, you know, in certain situations, okay? There's nothing really wrong with you wearing them, but it depends on where you're wearing them at, you know? And so I thought, well, working for the fashion industry would be great, because not only do I enjoy my accounting, then, you know, if they have company functions or whatever, then you're going to be more involved in those issues because you like that industry, right? So I tried to do that, you know. Of course, it got squashed by a bunch of, you know, negative, jealous, competitive people who were basically trying to destroy my life. But, you know, that's just a hobby, you know what I mean? But my interest in clothes has nothing to do with that. There are some of my clothes that look, I consider them to be kind of dorky. They're not sexually appealing to anybody, you know. They're just, you know, I think they're great, but they may not be appealing to other people. So I don't dress provocatively. I don't wear low-cut clothes. There has been some clothes that I bought, shirts that I bought, dress shirts, you know, for work that I bought. And when I tried them on, I noticed that they were a little too low. So what I would do is I would either take it to the sewing machine, or I would stick a pin, safety pin in it until I could get it to the sewing machine. Or there's a couple of those shirts folded up in my portable closet right now that there are still safety pins in it because I haven't actually gotten to sewing them yet. And when I do wear them, you can't really see the safety pin, okay? So I don't wear low-cut shirts. I don't wear clothes that show like my belly or anything. I think I dress quite modestly, you know. So these rumors, you know, I don't know where they got started or how they got started, you know, but it's bullshit. It's complete and utter bullshit. And when somebody, you know, eats well, you know, apples and fruit and, you know, those sort of things, I think that's how you're supposed to eat. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to eat junk food 24 hours a day. I grew up on junk food, okay? I grew up eating all kinds of stuff, okay? My parents grew up poor, so they wanted us to my dad never wanted us to go without, okay? So, you know, we were the kind of people that would go and get hamburgers and stuff like that every Friday, you know? And, I appreciate, you know, that my father made such an effort to try to make sure that we never went hungry, because obviously from the stories he told us that oftentimes they went to bed hungry. You know what I mean? They didn't have enough food to eat. But, you know, we would get 2 hamburgers each, you know, 2 hamburgers each, super large shakes, you know, and there was always candy in the house and that kind of stuff. And then when I got older, I really hated it. You know, it's like I knew it wasn't right to eat that way. I grew up with an extremely overweight mother, you know, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it. And I didn't feel comfortable. You know, I would get to a certain weight and I would think, like, I felt sluggish. Every time I'd walk, you know, I'd get a rash between my thighs, would get rashes and stuff. I'm like, well, this is uncomfortable. It's not good. And if for somebody who enjoys wearing clothes, you know, it's you got to pay. Sometimes people who are extremely overweight, they have to go to places like Lane Bryant, stuff like that. I just didn't see any benefit to being overweight. I just didn't, you know. And I think it's, you know, I'm not looking down on overweight people because I understand the struggle. I fully understand the struggle. I mean, life is hard, okay, and people are naturally pleasure seekers. So they seek pleasure. And oftentimes when you come home, you're tired, you're worn out, people pissed you off, that chocolate cake looks mighty goddamn good. You know, that's going to comfort you, it's going to do everything else, and I understand that, you know what I mean? Because believe me, I used to feed my face like you don't even believe. Okay, and then I just got to the point where it's just like, this is making me sick. I used to eat candy and soda for breakfast, okay? I had very bad eating habits. Very bad eating habits. So I made a correction. No, it wasn't to get male attention. It was for my own personal well-being. And I think a lot of people, they think, well, you know, I would be doing it for this reason. And they project their personal issues on other people. Don't put that shit on me, okay? Do not put that shit on me. If I wanted to diet right now, if I wanted to get into a relationship, I guess I would put forth some effort to do so. But, you know, it's not a priority with me. You know, what I want in my life is just to have peace of mind. You know, I want to go to work, come home, engage in my hobbies, and, you know, that's it. really, I know that sounds crazy for a lot of people, but, you know, relationships aren't a bad thing. But I personally, you know, someone in my situation, I would really not think it's a good idea. Okay? And some people say, well, you never met the right person yet. You know, after you've been gang stalked, and then really, even before the whole gang stalking, I realized, you know, marriage isn't for me. Okay? I don't want to deal with controlling mother-in-laws. My husband doesn't like this. He doesn't like that. And then the whole compromise bullshit. Fuck that shit. I don't want it. I do not want it. I'm too old right now to think about that kind of shit. All I care about is Maria. Okay? So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be back with another video later. Have a great evening. Good night. Bye-bye.